Hello, dear chess lovers. It's white to play in this position. Please take a moment and try to find the best move for white from this position. Today's video, folks, I'm talking about the multi-purpose moves in chess. Sometimes you can make a move that has multiple functions, that does so many things to your position. And to me, they are the strongest, but also the most aesthetically pleasing type of chess moves. I find tremendous beauty in finding those multi-purpose moves. Thus, I created a Chessable course about this, the art of multi-purpose moves. For example, in this position, folks, let's do it together. It's good knight versus bad bishop scenario. Our knight on d2 is not a good piece. We have to improve that knight, right? That's clear. But where should the knight go? And that's the key question. I want you to find that square for the knight that does multiple things at the same time. You're a great player if you found the move knight c4, folks, because that knight on c4 has become an excellent piece, putting pressure on e5, supporting d6, but very importantly, you're also stopping black from pushing the pawn to c4, right? If you go to e4 in this position, this also improves your knight, but that's a unidimensional move. Yes, you threaten d6, but you also allow the move c4, correct? Because that knight no longer controls that square, so you're actually helping black's pawn storm on the queen side by pushing knight e4. Can you see the difference, folks, between knight c4 and knight e4? That's the essence of today's video. In general, right, also in life, we want to have some actions that can give us multiple benefits. For example, I'm having some neck issues recently. I have like neck pains. So maybe starting sport would be helping with the pain, but also maybe make me happier, right? Because when you do some sports, you become happier in general. So maybe starting sports right now for me will be a multi-purpose move that can have multiple benefits and cascade effects and so on, right? Similarly in chess, we should generally seek those moves that can give us the most benefit, that can fulfill multiple functions at the same time. But what are the conditions for you to find those multi-purpose moves? It's about reading the board properly, right? It's about understanding what the position demands from you. That's why, for example, in this position, you should see the opponent's ideas. Maybe black wants to push c4 in this position, correct? You should identify your knight as a terrible piece. Yes, that's what I mean by objective understanding of the position. Because once you have truly a good evaluation and understanding of the situation, then multi-purpose moves should come to your mind naturally. One great example from Karpov's practice. It's white to play, folks. Please take a moment and find the best move for white. White has an extra pawn right now. Black played knight a5. And please take a stock, understand the situation overall, look at the entire board, please, and find that move that has so many benefits. Folks, let's do it together. I won't tell the move right now, but let's evaluate the position overall. We have beautiful e-file control with our rooks. We have a beautiful rook on the 7th rank. Knight a5 signals knight c4. There's also c3 pawn that is hanging, correct? The opponent might like to take on c3. Maybe they want to go knight c4, create some counterplay. Okay, so given this orientation phase, given that we want to stop both of these moves, one candidate should come to your mind naturally. And yes, that's the move rook c7, folks, right? You see it. Rook c7 stops knight c4, but also stops rook takes c3. But there's one more good thing behind the move rook c7, and you tell me what's that. Yes, it also invites the second rook on the 7th rank with rook e7, and white is just crashing through this position. That's why Karpov, great strategic player, played the move rook c7, and let's list the advantages once again. Rook c7 stops rook c3, stops knight c4, but also prepares rook e7. Black has no counterplay, and now they have to be tied down even more after the move rook e7. And Karpov won the game very, very easily from this position. But this was the key move, right? This looks like innocent, quiet move. You see, once you look deeper, it has so many advantages. A great strategic multi-purpose move. He doesn't defend passively. he also have active ideas in mind, right? Another Karpov example, folks. It's white to play in this position. Karpov, Taimanov. Please read the position correctly in this position. White is down a pawn, but look at the black king and look at the concentration of the white pieces on the king side, right? Clearly, we have great compensation for the pawn. Now, I want you to stop the video, folks, and find that move that has so many advantages. It's like starting sports. It has so many beautiful things behind. Okay, folks? Stop the video, please. Then I will give you the first prompt. It would be nice to somehow have a knight on g5, right, in this position. To have a knight on g5 to start hitting the king, hitting the f7 square. It would be nice to have our knight involved in the attack. So, this signals that the queen must give way to the knight. But which square the queen should go to, folks? You tell me. You're a great player if you found Karpov's move, queen c1 retreat. This queen is simply coming back and stopping all kind of queen checks. He's also eyeing the 7th rank just in case. But most importantly, he's paving way for the knight on f3 to go to g5, right? So now suddenly, white's attacking with 3 pieces potentially, and black has very little defenders on the king side, and the game is already over. No counterplay was given to black. Queen e2. Let's finish this game together, folks. Knight g5 check. You see, they cannot even guard the square f7 because this also, of course, comes up with a huge discovered attack on the queen. So black has no time to even guard f7. Queen a2, right? Knight g5 check. Let's finish this game. Knight f7 check. And here, Karpov simply goes back to the queen, right? Like a pendulum. He first moved the queen from g5 to c1. Now the queen just goes back to this square on g5, and now you see queen g6 mate is an enormous threat. The rook cannot move because of queen g7 mate, and they're completely tied down. Queen b1 check, king h2. There are no more checks left, and black resigned. Let's see how the game could have ended after queen f5. You stop the video and you tell me a great finish for white in this position, folks. White to play and win. You're a great player if you found the mate in 2. Queen g6 check. What an amazing check this is. The king has no squares left, so queen has to capture. And after h takes g6, look at this beautiful mate, folks. Look at the knight and pawn combination giving mate to the enemy king. Isn't it like one of the cutest mate you ever seen? Such a nice mate to see, right? Beautiful, beautiful. And of course, it all came about, by the way, from this position. Karpov saw the contours of this mate, but the queen had to give way to the knight. Thus, he found the multi-purpose move, attack and defense combined in this case, right? Just like in the last example, he was defending but also attacking at the same time. Now it's a much more direct attack, of course, against enemy king, and the game went like this. Again, no counterplay was given to the opponent. That's vintage Karpov for you. He won so many games like this, and that's a perfect illustration of his great technique. Multi-purpose moves can also be seen in pawn endgames, folks. That's a very famous study from Reti. It's white to play and to draw. It looks like it's an impossible task because the pawn is running. How can the white king in the corner stop the black pawn? It seems like the white pawn can easily be stopped by the black king. At first sight, it looks like an impossible task. But please take a stock. If you haven't seen the study yet, please take a stock and find a great solution for white. Folks, let's do it together. The first move is king g7. Already a multi-purpose move. The king is sort of paving way towards the center to maybe support the pawn, but also stop the black pawn. But what if the pawn just runs with h4, right? How can you stop my pawn? And comes the beautiful move king f6. Again, diagonal move, hinting at support of the pawn and also stopping that pawn on h4. What if black ignores you and play the move h3, folks? Here comes my question. What should white play? Yes, now comes king e7. One of the ideas behind king f6. Now the king is simply escorting the passed pawn on c6. For example, after c7, well, if you play king b7, I play king d7, and will queen at the same time. White is drawing this position. Okay, after h4, king f6. What if black plays king b6 to stop the pawn directly? Here comes your chance, folks. Can you find that beautiful multi-purpose move for white that saves the draw? Yes, beautiful king e5 centralization, a multi-purpose move. One idea is to go to d6 to support the pawn. The other idea is to go to f4 and stop the black pawn. You see, The single move, the white king is fulfilling two tasks at the same time. Incredible. And after king c6, of course, that's easy to understand. I'm stopping your pawn. That's an easy draw after this, right? And after h3 comes the second point, king d6, and now the pawn is escorted by the white king. And again, that will be a draw. Queens, basically both sides will make a queen on the next move, right? So after king f6, h3 doesn't work. King b6 doesn't work because of king e5 again, right? Well, h3 is actually answered by this. Same idea. King e7, right? We are supporting the pawn. Just like here, once again. So that line is easy to understand. But after king g7, what if black plays king b6? What if they directly win that pawn and comes king f6 again, folks? Of course, one idea is to go to g5 and take that pawn right now. So black has to push the pawn to have winning chances. And now comes, again, the same idea, king e5, folks. You know, the shortest route in chess between two squares is not always a straight line. This example shows that beautifully, right? The king is sort of going diagonally to fulfill both functions. And here again, we see the geometry of the king moves. They can really fulfill multiple functions, folks. In this position, of course, if you take the pawn, then king f4, and this pawn is stopped. If you don't take the pawn but push h3, comes king d6, and the king is now going to the queen side to escort the pawn, right? So basically, you can fulfill multiple functions. You can have several arguments with a single move in chess. And obviously, they are the strongest type of chess moves, right? Like just logically, strongest type of strategic chess moves are multi-purpose because you only can make one move at a time, right? So obviously, we want to fulfill many functions with that move. So that should be our goal in any given position, of course, right? But again, it's a difficult task partly because of time pressure, partly because of efficiency, right? If you see a good looking move, if it's good enough, maybe you don't need to really like spend half an hour to find a little bit like a better move, right? That's a practical side of things that we can also discuss later on, right? But in those moments where only a single move can save you, right? It's good to tank and find that great option that does many things to your position. And this will be your homework position, folks. It's black to play. I love this position. I featured this also in my course, The Art of Multi-Purpose Moves. Black to play. There's a pawn grabbing option. I made a course about this. Should we grab the pawn or should we do something else as black? Please read the board properly. Please look at the entire board. Evaluate the position first. Have some basic thoughts about the position. Verbalize what's going on. See what white wants to do in this position. Can you find that great move? The only move, in fact, for black that is clearly winning for black in this position. And it's just such a multi-purpose move, such a beautiful move to see. I want you to discover the move yourself. Please write to me on YouTube your answer and everything that move does. You can list all the points as a comment. I will read, I will give you great feedback, and I'm sure this position will also improve your analytical skills in chess, and you will fight maybe against blind materialism, and you'll seek your best, give your best to find that very best move in the position by always justifying it to you, verbalizing what that move does to you, okay? Because that's a function of this training. By looking at these beautiful examples, we learn what a rich game chess is, and we also learn the tools to get us the right answers, right? Because I can explain to you all the points behind those moves, attack and defense at the same time. You see, once again, you see how important it is to stop the opponent's ideas in chess, right? Obviously, we are seeking for best moves for ourselves, but the opponent also has a fundamental role in this game. You cannot slip on looking at their resources. So if you find a move that does both of these things, improve your position, also stop their counterplay, they are usually the best moves. Hopefully, you liked the video, folks. Please give me a like and subscribe if you like this video. That's very important for me to be able to continue such videos. I'm here to help you improve your game, and I will catch you on the next episode.